Our rules are simple, but the challenge is great. No shoulder pets, tames that can be carried, or typical boss dinos allowed. That means no Rexes, Therazinos, or any other dinos people normally use in these fights. Equipped with official server cap saddles, our 19 contenders will be backed by the commanding presence of a loyal Uteranus providing that extra boost. All competitors will go into battle with food to provide a healing effect. Herbivores will have plenty of sweet veggie cakes, and carnivores and omnivores will have cooked meat. No Overseer, because the movement speed required to get through the tech cave then chase the Overseer during the fight would shorten our list by a lot. It's important to note that tames in this series aren't typically used during boss battles because of the amount of mutations it would take to make them competitive. I'll be applying around 23,000 health and 1200% melee through mutations and experience levels to all dinos that compete. This will give them all a fair shot at defeating at least one of the Guardians. It won't always be feasible to reach these stats depending on the dinos I'm using, but I will let you know the amount of mutations and levels it took in order to reach it. All competitors start out with 50 base health and melee and 40 points in everything else before I apply mutations and experience levels. Use this information and decide on your own servers if the juice is worth the squeeze. Competitors are required to fight the Megapithecus, Broodmother, then Dragon on all difficulties, starting with Gamma, then Beta, finishing with Alpha. Their success will be annotated on this scorecard with a pass-or-fail system. Now let's introduce our competitor and see if they have what it takes. Arthropluera, the living embodiment of disgusting and vile. Just watching this gross thing skitter around in caves is enough to make me want to vomit. These aggressive bugs dwell in the caves on the island and are usually introduced to their survivor when you hear the sound of your armor breaking from their acid spit. The stats used in this competition required 35 mutations and 60 experience levels. 10 mutations and 30 experience levels went into health, and 25 mutations and 30 experience levels went into melee. The Arthropluera comes into this fight with a ranged acid attack and a damage recoil ability similar to the Kentrosaurus. Let's see if they have what it takes. I powered up the green portal and it was time to unleash the Underpedes into the icy land of the Gamma Megapithecus. Right off the bat, I could tell what kind of day we would be having, as the Arthros wouldn't be the target of the Gamma Megapithecus' rage. The silver lining to this was that the Arthros seemed to be very good at blocking the Megapithecus because of their odd hitboxes. I was able to keep the big man at bay and watch the bug brigade slowly chip away at his health. I moved in a little close to see the damage recoil in action, but it was pretty hard to notice a difference. And that could be because this is the Gamma stage and they don't deal a lot of damage. What I did notice was that the Buggy Boys were victorious and earned their first pass. The Gamma Broodmother started off exciting. Not exciting like full of action, but exciting because I was able to actually block her from coming after me. This is actually kind of a big deal because I usually have trouble blocking her approach, and this got me thinking, could I block the dragon? Would all of the bosses be able to get hung up on the Underpedes and allow us to have easy victories? Maybe. Maybe. But the Gamma Broodmother wouldn't make it easy because she still found a way to slip by eventually. Unfortunately for her, it was a little too late. And we got another pass. If we could block the Gamma Dragon, we would be living in dreamland because it wasn't going to happen. The dragon is just different. He has a really high hitbox and he moves much faster than the other bosses. He was able to get around the Underpedes with ease and actually put a hurting on Commander Utes pretty early on in the fight. It took a bit to get the positioning correct because the collision with the Arthro is pretty difficult to gauge visually. Once we did though, they actually started to dish out some decent damage. Commander Utes is pretty messed up though, and I still thought we could pull this off without losing our brave Uti, but the dragon took off because they heard my wishes. Now watch what happens. Look at the amount of damage that the dragon deals to the Underpedes. Arthros take increased damage from gunfire and explosives. Apparently the dragon's bite counts as one of those because this made me even double check to make sure I was actually in the Gamma Dragon fight. I literally thought I was in the Alpha Dragon fight. The Gamma Dragon murdered my sweet Commander Utes and began a mission of destruction. He tore the Arthros in me a new asshole. He was actually really close to being killed, but close doesn't win. And these creepy crawlies got a big fail for the dragon. The blue portal was activated and the Underpedes were ready for blood. The Beta Megapithecus was up next, and well, you see, the bosses get faster in the higher difficulties. So that translates to you aren't going to get them stuck completely. The increased speed that the Beta Megapithecus had is actually enough to propel him over the Arthros in some cases. Commander Utes took a pounding in this fight, and sensing the inevitable, I transitioned over to one of the Underpedes and had to watch Commander Uti Bear take a giant rock to the skull and crumple up into a fluffy balled up corpse. The Underpedes and I went in for vengeance, and we punched the Beta Megapithecus' ticket, earning another pass. The Beta Broodmother fight started off pretty rough because she charged in faster than I could get the Underpedes away from the spawn point. I eventually broke free and tried to get her stuck on their hitboxes, but we had the same situation as the beta Megapithecus. She was able to just waltz over the top of them, and she kept coming after me with either lust or anger in her eyes. I could never tell with these spiders. Once again, I had to abandon poor Commander Utes, and I made a swift transfer over to one of the creepy crawlies. And then, within the blink of an eye, she regurgitated some really nasty green shit and slaughtered my trusty steed. I hope he doesn't share the memories of his clones, because that's a recipe for some complex PTSD. The beta broodmother killed off all of my companions in order to get me alone, but I said, nay, my heart belongs to your sister. So she ate me and handed us another fail. I powered up the red portal and the Underpedes prepared to enter the final boss arena of the competition, the Alpha Megapithecus. For this fight, I took a slightly different approach than I did with the beta Megapithecus. I was more mobile and I stayed just out of range so that he'd attack but wouldn't always hit me, and he would also stay relatively still so the Arthropluera could dish out their maximum potential. Commander Utes took a lot of damage in this fight, but not nearly as much as he took in the beta fight, where I was banking on getting the Megapithecus stuck. Some of the Arthros actually started to get killed towards the end of this fight, and to be honest, I thought they'd all get slaughtered based off previous results, but they somehow pulled it off, capping off the night with another pass. Finally, the scoreboard is ready and the Arthropluera is given a bronze boom medal. For the quick and dirty, gold is for a full clear, silver is for reaching the alpha stage on all the bosses but not being victorious, and bronze is for everyone else. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to help this community grow. Let me know in the comments if you have any feedback or would like to see any specific dinos that aren't on the list in the community tab. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.